Hey, how's it going? This is Tali from rawnakedfood.com. Today we're going to make something really interesting. We're going to make a tart for all sorts of desserts. And this tart is really good because it's going to have a combination of figs, dates, and also the combination of walnuts and Brazil nuts, which are my favorite. So you're going to get 2 cups, 1 cup of walnuts and 1 cup of Brazil nuts. And you're just going to put it in the food processor like that. And you're going to get about 2 figs and 3 dates. And you're going to toss that in the food processor as well as a pinch of salt. I'm just going to throw that in there. And then we're going to combine this in the food processor like so. And we're going to get a pulp, and we're going to make a tart with that. So stick around and you're going to see the final product. Alright, so now we're ready to put the finished product into the tray so we can have a tart. And as you can see, the finished product is pretty much like this. It's a big moist graham cracker crust that we're going to use to make our tart. So how do we do this? We're going to pretty much mold it into this 9-inch cylinder here. And we're just going to mold it like this with our hands. And we're going to make a base for it so we can make a tart. And your final product will look something like this. See that? And what we're going to do is we're going to stick this whole thing into the dehydrator for about 10 hours at about 105 degrees. And then we're going to stick it in the refrigerator to harden, and we'll have a final tart that looks something like a tart that I made a couple hours ago, which I will show you shortly. Thank you. Okay. So this is the final tart that we have. You can zoom in on that. See how beautiful it is? How I spent lots of time making the right indentations on it. So what you're going to do with this is stick it inside of your dehydrator, or you can put it in your refrigerator for 24 hours to let it cool down and harden. And your final product will be something hard like this. And with these special types of pans, your tart will be ready in one simple move. So that's how you make the tart for the black mission fig tart and walnut cream dessert. Cool. Alright, so what we're going to do now is make the walnut cream for the mission fig tart. So we made the tart, we made the actual crust for the tart, and you saw that. And now what we're going to do is make the cream. And this is really easy. All we're going to do is use 2 cups of walnuts that are pre-soaked for 8 to 10 hours. And we're going to use 1/2 cup of maple syrup. Now the reason I'm using maple syrup, even though it's not raw, is because it's processed at a lower temperature than agave. And it's actually much better for you because it has a low glycemic index as opposed to a high one from the agave. And it gives it a richer flavor. So we're going to combine this with also a 1/4 cup of filtered water. We're going to put that in the Vitamix, and the end product is going to be walnut whipped cream. And you're going to see that in the next video. Alright, so we're going to put the walnuts in here, we're going to put the maple syrup in here, and we're going to put the water, which is about 1/4 cup. So you're going to use 2 cups of walnuts, 1/2 cup of maple syrup, and 1/4 cup of water, which I'm going to put right there. And we're going to put this in the Vitamix and get the walnut cream. And you're going to see that next, as soon as I get done. Ready? So after you're done with the Vitamix, you'll get this cream that looks like this. You see that? You get the close up on this one? This is the cream. It's really delicious. So what I'm gonna do, I have a mini tart, a mini crust that I made earlier. See that? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a thin layer of it on top of this crust like that. We're gonna put enough to cover about a 1/4 inch of the whole circumference of this crust. And we're gonna just paint it on like that. Looks good. We're gonna do about 8 of these, okay? We're gonna do 8 of these little tarts. I'm gonna put them aside, like that. Sorry. And our next step is we're going to dice the figs, and we're going to pretty much put them on top of that tart, and we're gonna drizzle a special sauce on it, which is what you're gonna see next. All right, so for the topping of the Mission Fig Tart, what we're gonna do is on top of the crust and the walnut whipped cream, we're going to put actual pieces of the fig. And we're going to cut it into really, really thin slices, kind of like this. And we're going to dress them like this. Place them really nicely. You can do whatever you want. Make a spiral shape. Just put like 3 or 4 of them. Make it look really nice. You can see this one I made right here. See that? You got that? Now what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to drizzle some honey, some of my honey, I'm going to drizzle it on top of the figs like that. I'm just going to drizzle a little bit, kind of like in the middle of the fig. Get about a teaspoon of honey, maybe more. Just enough to go on top of the figs like that. Sorry, that looks a little better. See that? It's really pretty. Now the magic to this recipe is the lavender that's going to be used for this. Lavender is an herb that is used rarely in raw dishes. But for this dish, lavender really brings out the flavor in the walnut and everything else that goes with this amazing fig tart. So we're going to drizzle some lavender, some essence of lavender, or you can use dehydrated lavender, which is what I did. We're going to just drizzle some on top of this. So you have an end product that looks something like this. You can even put like a lavender, like a lavender, piece of lavender just to make it aesthetically pleasing. And you serve this, and it's amazing. It is all raw, all good.